there are thoughts that she really don't want to manifest, but they're coming to her head anyway. She's praying, choosing love and light and trying to focus on other things, but still comes back. And so what are some of the practical things that you could say what she could do to not have those things that she don't want to have?
And what's her name?
Annie.
Yeah, Annie. The good thing about that, Annie, is to remember that manifestation is something that we all have to learn to master over a period of time. So the good thing is that you won't manifest all of those thoughts instantly. That's the great thing about manifestation, is that we are not masters of manifestation from the time we're born. Luckily, otherwise we would be manifesting all kinds of crazy stuff. So what's good is just to notice what thoughts you're having and just not feed those thoughts, not give them any energy. Just say, I like to encourage my clients to use the words, how fascinating. So when you notice a thought that is, let's say it's a stubborn thought, in other words, it keeps coming up, it keeps showing up, just keep saying, how fascinating, there's that thought again. And it's almost like you see it in your mind. You know, imagine that you see it and you say, how fascinating, there you are again. And you add some humor to it. The main thing is not to feed it with energy, not to resist it. Because when you try and resist something, whatever you resist will persist. So it's just noticing it. By noticing it and acknowledging it, you'll notice that it will disappear. So it's much better to acknowledge, notice, acknowledge, and then you'll watch it will disappear rather than resist, because then it will just keep showing up. And as I said, don't worry about having, you're not going to manifest everything you think about. We all have dark thoughts at times. And luckily we won't manifest all of them, but it's okay. You don't act on every thought you have. But it does really help for you to notice them and just say, how fascinating, there it is again. And then just kind of laugh it off, And then now the next step is, now you can choose consciously what to think next. So when you notice a thought popping up, just ask yourself, or first of all, you say, how fascinating, there it is again. Then you say, now what would be the exact opposite of that thought? If I could choose anything to think about right now, if I had the freedom to think about anything right now, what would I love to think about? What would make me feel really good? That's asking yourself a conscious question, and it's a constructive question. And when you ask yourself a question constructively in a conscious fashion, then your brain will start to look for the answer. So if you just say to yourself, what would be a fantastic thing to think about right now? What could I focus on right now that will make me feel amazing? What can I focus on right now that will make me feel happy or joyful, or, a sense of joy, or what would make me feel grateful right now? And then you just choose that thought. And it's just that practice. It's that practice. And everybody has this challenge, Annie. Unfortunately, most people are not aware of it. But by being aware of it, you're a step ahead. So now you're aware. So now what you do is now you practice choosing something else. And the more conscious you are about what you're thinking about, the more freedom you have to choose what you think about. And then that becomes a practice. It's like a habit. It's like a muscle. You exercise the muscle. Your mind is a muscle that you must exercise. It's just like your bicep. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. And the more you develop the ability to choose what you think about consciously, which is much more powerful than being unconscious and just letting thoughts run through your mind all day long, which is what happens to most people anyway.